Coming to you live from Northwest Dublin, the first annual Golden Boys Award. Golden Boy, what did I say?
Golden Boys Award.
Oh, it's just Golden Boy Award.
Yes, Golden Boy Awards.
Golden Boys Awards.
No, Golden Boy Awards.
Golden Boy Awards.
And now, your host for this evening, legendary broadcaster, George Hook.
Well, hello and welcome to the first Golden Boy Awards. Myself and the lovely Ingrid have been watching a lot of great films this year, and tonight they'll be celebrated at the Golden Boy Awards. Every person who wins will receive this beautiful statuette designed in the image of legendary actor James Stewart. The lovely Ingrid has already spoken of how much she loves the design. So please now, I'll hand you over to Shane and Lucien. Guys, have a great evening.
Thank you so much, George. We really appreciate it. Imagine having the George Hook here in studio with us.
Incredible get for
He'll be back later
an up and coming.
He'll be back later to tell us his favorite performances of the year.
He will.
So we're going to be awarding the best films of the 2003 sort of Oscar eligibility window. So we're talking films released in the United States between January 1st and December 31st, 2023. Anything that was eligible for this year's Oscars is eligible for a Golden Boy Award. And Shane and I have both prepared our individual ballots for each of the major categories.
Yep.
And we're going to go through them. And you guys are very welcome to write in with your thoughts as well. It's our last episode being released before the Oscars. So
this is in no sense predictive. This is our own.
This is completely
list.
Independent of the Oscar race. This is our opinions based on films that we've seen this year. Now, disclaimer is that Shane has not seen which films?
Of the Oscar Best Pictures, I haven't seen Anatomy of a Fall, and I haven't seen The Holdovers yet.
Okay, so Shane's ballots are going to be excluding those two films. I've seen basically everything bar Perfect Days, which I'm going to see this week, and then kind of any major horror film that came out this year, I would have avoided.
Yeah,
most likely.
I was looking at your 2023 list, and you had about 100 films on it. I have about 42 on mine. Yeah. So I'm pulling from a smaller pool.
Yeah, I've seen basically every film in the awards conversation in a major way, bar Perfect Days, Society of the Snow, and then a couple of other kind of foreign language and obviously documentaries. I have completely not watched a single documentary this year, so you won't be seeing them pop up. Otherwise, I've seen over 100 films in 2023, so you're getting a pretty good reflection here of my taste in films that came out this year. So, like the Oscars, we're going to kick off with Best Supporting Actor. A fun one to start off with. Best Supporting Actor. So, would you like to go first with your 5 nominees and your winner for Best Supporting Actor?
These are my 5 nominees. I actually didn't pick winners yet, so this is going to be
Okay, you can pick your winner on the fly.
Very strong category.
Yeah, of course. The strongest
Very
category.
strong.
Yeah,
I think so.
Incredible. All of our favorites end up in supporting actor.
The 5 I went with.
Okay.
And I may have forgotten a very obvious one.
Okay.
So you might have to remind me.
Okay.
I went with Robert De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon.
Great.
Glenn Howerton, Blackberry.
Lovely.
I went David Krumholtz from Oppenheimer.
Okay.
I went Shea Wiggum from Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Okay.
And I went for Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things.
Interesting. So, Mark Ruffalo was my 6th choice.
Okay.
He fell out of my 5 because I thought of a better one last week.
The obvious exclusion from my list is Robert Downey Jr.
Yes, he's also missing from my list.
Okay.
My number 6 and 7 and 8 are Ruffalo, Downey Jr., and Shea Wiggum.
Yeah.
So here's my 5. Antoine Reinhardt from Anatomy of a Fall.
Okay.
This is the bald-headed prosecutor, an angry little French man who speaks so fast and with such conviction that he is incredibly sexy in the film. He's not as sexy as Swan Arnaud, who plays the main character's attorney, but he's fantastic. He wears legal robes in the courtroom. Anyway, I'll talk about them after. But Antoine Reinhardt is my number 1. David Krumholtz in Oppenheimer. Glenn Howerton in Blackberry.
Yep.
Henry Czerny in Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. And Robert De Niro in Killers of the Flower Moon.
I just didn't go all the way with Henry Czerny.
Henry Czerny to me is a performance that has stuck with me more over the past 8 months.
I think it's a more
Shea Wiggum.
unique performance than Shea Wiggum.
Shea Wiggum is kind of playing, he's phenomenal in the film.
Yeah.
But he's kind of doing the thing he does in every film.
Yeah.
I think Henry Czerny is a guy that I wasn't familiar with apart from Mission Impossible. And he came in and just kind of takes over the movie for like 3 separate scenes where he is commanding so much of the screen that for me, it's a slightly more special performance that I think about a bit more.
And he's more fundamental to the success of the film.
Yeah, I think Shea Wiggum kind of comes in and out, but I think Henry Czerny's fantastic. Robert De Niro is kind of doing the best work of the last 20 years in this.
I think so.
It's unbelievable. And he's Oscar nominated, and yet it feels like he's been slept on for how good this performance is. It's like the third most hyped performance in the film, and it is so good. He's so funny and scary.
I haven't seen much press about him. I haven't seen him on the media tours.
He's like, it's so much better than he usually is. He's got his weird little goggles, and he's driving the car, and he's smacking DiCaprio with
locked
the
in
paddle.
here.
He's so alive. It is like the most energetic performance imaginable from a man in his 80s. Glenn Howerton, fantastic.
Just outstanding.
The best bald screamer since J.K. Simmons in Whiplash.
Yes.
It's really just fantastic stuff. And an actor who I found very annoying, to be honest, in previous encounters. I'm not an It's Always Sunny fan. Any interviews I've ever seen with him, he seemed like an annoying guy. I've always kind of put him in the bracket of like new girl actors and, white guys on TV sitcoms who kind of irritate me.
But he does this hysterical thing in such a straight manner.
Yes, he takes this character so seriously, even though it is such a ridiculous role.
Yeah.
And it is just like such a perfect comedy performance. Like you wish that someone like Ben Stiller was doing performances like this. Yeah. It's such a great use of an angry comedic energy to do something dramatic. And then David Krumholtz is my winner.
You give him the winner.
I think it's the best performance in Oppenheimer. I mean, you could argue that Cillian Murphy is the best performance by default, but it's the best supporting character in that film. He brings so much of the life and human energy.
Yeah.
Like if you take him out, there's a lot less humanity in the film because everyone's instincts are a little bit more sinister. I think that he brings so much to the role of just this ethical, caring guy who finds something to love in Oppenheimer and demonstrates for us, the audience, that this man is worth caring about.
Cillian Murphy's performance is not robotic, but it's
cold.
Yeah.
He's playing a guy who's obsessed with numbers and statistics and science, and it's very cold. Krumholtz is like, he cares so much about Oppenheimer that you believe that you should care as well. Mm-hmm. And he just has such a warm and kind face. He also makes the speech to Oppenheimer about how you shouldn't be, I don't want to be part of this project. Mm-hmm. Take off that stupid uniform. He seems to be the most politically engaged person in the film, apart from the actual Communist Party members. And he's just fantastic. And another actor who I've always been a little bit like, nice to see him pop up. I've never thought David Krumholtz, what a great actor. And I think everyone who loves Oppenheimer has now recognized him as an incredible talent. Like,
I think for my winner, it's between De Niro and Glenn Howerton.
Yeah.
And I'll give it to Glenn Howerton.
Yeah, fair. It's a
Glenn
special performance for a guy.
So.
Yeah. It's the last person you would have expected at the start of the year to have as your best supporting actor winner. That's the thing.
And like this is a film that came out in April or something.
Yes,
and
we've still been we saw it in September.
We did, but it has stuck with people.
He's stuck with people all year.
It hasn't just lasted as like a gimmick of April.
It premiered at Sundance, and people are still talking about how good he is.
Yeah.
Come the Oscars, like
and it's not even in like, oh, this is fun. It's good and very sincere, serious way. So
a few others I didn't make my list were Damon in Oppenheimer, Harris Dickinson in Scrapper, Bateman in Air, I think is really good.
Yeah.
Jamie Bell in All of Us Strangers, and Jason Schwartzman in The Hunger Games I think was great. And also, honestly, Ryan Gosling in Barbie is a little bit undeniable. Yeah. It is a great performance. But he doesn't need the credit. And Ruffalo and Downey, of course, could easily go into that 5.
Sure, they're Gosling is top 10, sure, on my list.
But having watched Oppenheimer again yesterday, I don't think Downey comes close to Krumholtz in making the 5. I think that there's a lot more pathos in Krumholtz's performance. Downey's is very blunt and
he gets all the big lines.
He's fucking gonna win an Oscar next week. He doesn't need a Golden Boy. So our Golden Boy winners, David Krumholtz and Glenn Howerton. Congrats, guys.
Congrats.
Well done. A Golden Boy to each of you. Enjoy. Next up, we're going to do original screenplay.
Ooh, I didn't do the screenplays. I'm
going to
let you take this.
All right, I'll do this. I'll rush through them quickly. My original screenplay, Anatomy of a Fall, Dream Scenario, Fallen Leaves, Passages, and The Royal Hotel. And my winner there is going to be Passages, I think.
Yeah.
Another film you haven't seen. Going to crop up a few more times here. It's a really, really excellent, very, very contemporary story told in a very contemporary way where you just feel like, why can't every film capture in it's sort of a post worst person in the world type thing where you're like, the relationships in this feel so real in how European people in their 20s and 30s, be it in Ireland or in Paris, live and get romantically involved, that you're sort of like, why can't every film be this tapped into real life. And then I've got Niagara Falls, obviously a fabulous script. It's the best thing about that film. Dream Scenario, Fallen Leaves, and The Royal Hotel, I thought were all just very clever in different ways. None of them are films that live and die by the script. They all have great performances in them too, but I think that they're very clever ideas. Dream Scenario obviously has a very big, high concept about the dreams. The Royal Hotel has a pretty high concept about, they're going out to Australia, to the desert, and there's slimy men everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think the film takes turns that you wouldn't expect it to. And then Fallen Leaves is just like really engaging as a small stakes romance, and I really liked that. And adapted screenplay, I've got Blackberry, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Poor Things, and Oppenheimer. That's not a controversial selection, I think.
No.
I've put Maestro in there because I do think that's a genuinely good script, and Blackberry should have definitely got an Oscar nomination for screenplay. It's a great screenplay. Really, really good.
What's the text of Maestro?
The Life of Leonard Bernstein. I'm putting anything based on true stories into that category. Sure. Then next up, let's do Best Supporting Actress. So you go first.
A little bit of a trickier one here.
Yeah. As always, not as many good roles for women as there are for men, unfortunately.
No. Maybe we just need to watch better films.
I would also argue that the films that I've seen that my supporting actors are coming from are films that you didn't see.
Okay.
Including the presumptive...
A lot of mine are the big hitters.
Presumptive Oscar nominee of next week.
None of mine are Oscar nominated.
Yeah. I've got one who is.
Okay. I put Carey Mulligan in here.
For Maestro. Yeah. And supporting.
Yes.
Okay. That's a choice you've made. I think she is a lead in that film.
You think she's a lead?
Yeah. She is in that film. She's in more than 51% of the scenes in that film.
Right.
But that's okay. I'll allow it.
I'll allow it too.
If the title of the film refers to someone who isn't her,
yes,
and on those grounds, I will allow it.
She's not on the poster.
Yeah, she's not on the. She is on the poster.
She's not.
She's on like a lot of the posters. Okay, just not the one of him conducting, but
she is not Maestro.
She's first billed in the film.
Yes.
Carry on.
I put in Hayley Atwell here.
Yep, she's my number 7 or my number 8. Yeah.
As much as I adore Rebecca Ferguson in all the Mission Impossible films, this is not her.
I didn't even consider her.
This is not.
I was considering Atwell. I was considering Kirby and Pom Klementieff.
Yeah.
Never occurred to me, Rebecca Ferguson. She doesn't do much in that film.
No, she doesn't, even though she's like incredible in the
she's incredible in the previous ones, yeah.
I went Florence Pugh.
In Oppenheimer? Yep, she's great in Oppenheimer.
I went Vanessa Kirby in Napoleon.
Right.
It's a fine performance.
It's okay.
I didn't want to put her in for
Mission. Yeah.
Mission again.
Okay. It's an okay performance. I haven't thought about it much since that film, though.
I haven't thought about that film at all.
No.
But she's memorable in it. I like her.
Sure.
I think she's good in it.
She's a good actress.
And the last one, Dylan Jalula for A Dream Scenario.
Yep. My number 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost made it. She is
very
fucking fantastic in those 2 scenes. Yeah. One of our favorite actresses, and she does steal the movie for 10 minutes.
She does.
And she gets a brilliant, weird, kind of creepy, sexually tense scene with Nicolas Cage.
Trying to recreate a dream she had.
Yes,
while
a weird
Cage
sex dream
sits there and she's explaining to him.
Yeah,
it's
making him deeply uncomfortable, and it's so good. She's so good in that scene. Yeah, no, that's a great choice. Okay, my 5 are Brooke Timber in Memory. So I saw Memory is the last film I saw before making this list. Yeah. And it might be getting a bit of recency bias because there's 2 Memory people on my ballots here. This is the girl who plays Jessica Chastain's daughter in the film. She has never acted in a film before, as far as I know. And at the start of the film, I was watching her and I was watching Elsie Fisher, who's from the actress from 8th grade. And she plays another teenage girl in the film, young woman. And I was thinking to myself, I wish these actresses were swapping roles because I want Elsie Fisher to have a bigger role in the film. And then about halfway through, I realized that that Brooke Timber was fucking killing it in this role and was bringing so much warmth to this kind of dysfunctional single mother setup she has with Jessica Chastain as her mother. And then Jessica Chastain's own mother, the grandmother character, shows up and tries to start turning the daughter against Jessica Chastain, and the way the daughter resists this pull and sticks with her mother with this incredible loyalty and love and trust just moved me so much, and I thought she was absolutely fantastic in it. I hope she goes on to great things. Then I've got the presumptive Oscar winner, Divine Joy Randolph in The Holdovers. Just a terrific performance. It's nothing flashy. It's, in fact, how unflashy it is what's so great about it.
Yeah.
She's just like, there's these 2 nasty men bickering the entire film, and she's just there in every scene, dealing with grief and loneliness in a really interesting way. And she's a great actress. It's a great performance. My winner is a really random one. It's Hong Chow in Showing Up.
Okay.
This is the Kelly Reichardt movie with Michelle Williams, and it's set in the the visual art world. And Michelle Williams plays an artist, a sculptor, and she has a landlord / neighbor who is coming over, kind of looking for rent, kind of wondering what's going on. And this is Hong Chau's character. Mm-hmm. And Hong Chau is an actress I did not like in Alexander Payne's Downsizing, and then I thought was really excellent in The Whale, a film that is very hard to be excellent in. She plays Brendan Fraser's just best friend, a nice lady who comes over and looks after him, and she's so good in it. It's such a terrible film, and she managed to break through. So when she showing up, I was like, oh, what's going on? What's she going to bring us this time? And she is fantastic in it. She is like living in the shadow of this narcissistic artist next door who won't pay her rent on time. And she's just trying to make her own art make a splash. And the film is constructed to make her into an underdog, but also it's such an interesting dynamic. And she really shone through. And I thought the film was not fantastic, but she was so easily the best thing in it. And then my two others are also very random. Catherine Hunter in Poor Things. This is the old lady brothel owner who is a great actress. She's in Harry Potter. She's in Cohen's Macbeth. And she's this weird little old English woman with a grizzled face. Her.
Yeah, I didn't.
She's in a couple scenes and she's so old and so wrinkly, but she's playing like sort of a madame of a brothel in Paris, in
covered
Victorian
in tattoos,
Paris, covered in tattoos. And she's kind of... she's sexualizing herself in the sense that she's running a brothel and she herself seems to be working there, but it's such a funny, quirky, kind of creepy little character she's created, and she's such a good actress. And then my last choice for supporting actress is the most random one of all, and it's Sally Phillips in Love at First Sight. Sally Phillips is this English TV actress who you'd recognize. She's like a nice lady in her 50s. And in Love at First Sight, which is this Netflix romantic comedy with Haley Lou Richardson and Ben... I don't even remember his fucking name. Ben, I don't remember his name. English actor. The second half of the film, he goes to a sort of dying party for his mother who has cancer. And it is Shakespeare themed, and it is like a pre-death funeral. She's basically holding a party for herself before she dies of cancer. And she goes up and makes a speech, and it is so heartbreaking, and she does such a good job with it. And Dexter Fletcher is very good as well as the father. The movie is about the two young people like flirting on a plane, and she steals the film for 5 minutes. It's really, really great, and it's really moving. And it's a lovely performance, and I was like, oh, Sally Phillips, she's fucking great. What a pro. So not the most competitive category, but there's a few great performances in there. And I tried to be creative with the ones I chose. And some other ones that it didn't have room for were Dylan Jalula, Jessica Henwick in The Royal Hotel, Pugh and Oppenheimer, Atwell in Mission, and Patti LuPone in Beau is Afraid is a great performance as well. So, next, what do we do?
I picked Dylan Jalula as my winner.
Dylan was your winner. Hilarious. Okay. Yeah. Good choice.
She was. I thought she was the most memorable. My list is not as expansive as yours.
Sure. You just didn't watch enough films with women in them.
I guess so.
Intentionally so.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah. What do we do next?
I don't know. You're the list man.
Next, we're going to do the best needle drop of the year.
Best needle drop. I think we're doing joint list here.
Okay. So I have a list of 8. We
pretty much had the same thing.
Okay. I go through my list of 8. So, from The Killer, it's How Soon Is Now by the Smiths.
Yep.
In the opening scene where he's in Paris and he's trying to kill a guy and he accidentally shoots a sex worker instead.
Yep.
And How Soon Is Now keeps coming in, like it keeps cutting in and out of the song, and it's so tense.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, this movie's about to be amazing. And then it was never that good again. From All of Us Strangers, Frankie Goes to Hollywood, The Power of Love.
Yep.
It's very heavy-handed. But the film teases the song throughout, constantly, playing little snippets of it. And I kept going, oh, are they going to play The Power of Love start to finish? Because that'll be very moving.
Yeah.
And then the film ends with this very depressing ending, and they play the song, and it's very powerful.
Yeah.
Money for Nothing, from the opening credits of Air, Dire Straits.
Banger.
It's just like a lazy...
It's an all-time intro.
All-time intro song.
Like, it's...
lazy opening credits, but very effective.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go. The 80s are back.
Could very well have been the intro to Blackberry, or
any 80s
Dumb
film.
Money, or any film that came out last year. Like,
speaking of Blackberry, Love Will Tear Us Apart by Joy Division. A very lazy choice, but very effective. Really gets you tapping your feet.
There's a trend here where if you put a good song in your film, it becomes a good
one. Exactly. From No Hard Feelings, Hall & Oates, Man Eater. It's not quite a needle drop. It's more of it's performed within the film.
It is, but it comes back again. Do they play it at some point?
Maybe they do. Maybe they play it over the end credits or something. Anyway, it's used very well in the film.
Yes, and I've been on a big Hall & Oates buzz recently, so I'm
it's a great song.
Big fan.
From Anatomy of a Fall, 50 Cent PIMP kettle drum version. It's been joked about to death.
Yeah.
From Love at First Sight, Video Killed a Radio Star. Always a good song to use in a film. There's a great wedding dance number with Rob Delaney and Haley Richardson set to that song. And then finally, from Leave the World Behind, I'll Be There For You, the Friends theme song.
Yeah.
The film ends, spoiler for Leave the World Behind, the film ends with a massive nuclear attack of some kind.
Yeah.
The little girl goes down to the basement of the house. There's a bunker, a nuclear bunker, with all the DVDs of Friends, which she has been unable to watch since her Netflix is broken.
Yeah.
This is a Netflix film.
Yeah.
She finds the DVDs of Friends. She goes, oh, good, DVDs. She puts on the last episode of Friends on the DVD player. The DVD player, the whole scene is like obsessed with the detail of putting a DVD on as well.
The entire film is all the adults wondering if the world is ending, and she's just annoyed she hasn't seen the last 2 episodes of Friends.
Yeah. She puts on the last episode of Friends. The film cuts to her face, and you just hear, and it cuts to black. And this film came out, I think, like a week after Matthew Perry died.
Oh, God.
So it just felt very prescient, and I was just very like, oh man,
like this is less than a minute after. This is a minute after showing it.
The end of the world, like
a mushroom cloud coming from Manhattan.
Yes,
in the distance. So
it's really effective.
I really like that film. You didn't.
I didn't like it, but I loved the ending. I thought it was a great ballsy ending and a very fun ending for a expensive Netflix film.
Yeah, that
Sam Esmail would put a fucking joke about DVDs being the only way to preserve media at the end of a Netflix film is very clever. So very good. It like may as well have been a gag out of Station 11. Like it was very clever. Like. Next up, best animated film. I've got 4 for this.
Do we have a winner for Needle Drop?
Oh, for the winner. I think
Power of Love.
Power of Love was the one that stuck with me the most, but How Soon Is Now was the biggest rush of blood to the head. Like, just an absolute like.
You can pick that.
Oh my god, that fucking rules. Those are our 2 winners.
Yeah.
Best animated film. I've got 4 options: The Boy and the Heron, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Cabin Fever, a Disney Plus original.
Yep.
Elemental, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
I haven't seen any of these, so I'm going to let you pick.
My winner is The Boy and the Heron by some distance. That is a real film. Next up, Best Actress. Lead Actress.
Best Lead Actress.
Okay.
I went Lily Gladstone.
Great choice.
For Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yep.
I went Lea Seydoux for One Fine Morning.
Correct, yeah.
I went Sonny Sandler. You were so not invited to my bat mitzvah.
Is it Sadie that's
No, it's Sonny.
It's Sonny that's the lead.
Sonny that's the lead.
All right, okay, very good.
She's very funny.
She's very good, yep.
Very good. I went Jennifer Lawrence for No Hard Feelings.
Yep, good choice.
And you might disagree with this, but I put Margot Robbie in here.
For Barbie?
For Barbie.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I do disagree with it. I'm surprised you put her in there. I think it's an annoying performance. Like, she's very annoying in it.
I don't know. I don't think she...
I have only ever liked Margot Robbie in 2 films. Babylon and Bombshell.
Yeah.
I struggle with her in most everything else. She's too switched on.
Maybe I'm just...
But I will say...
drowned out by the media phenomenon that's been Barbie, where I feel like her performance has actually toned down in my head compared to all the Gosling hype and all that. And like...
the film wouldn't work without her, I'll say that.
It wouldn't.
It does work just about.
She's like... the performance of this is kind of on the similar level of like DiCaprio on Wall Street, kind of the Meryl Streep and Devil Wears Prada, where it's like she's kind of the only choice that could have done this.
Yes. And
she's the only one who can operate on the scale that it needs to.
Yeah. You don't think it would have worked with Anne Hathaway if she went blonde, and she was doing her ultimate like manic smiley thing.
I don't know.
No, Margot Robbie.
I think that might have been too much.
Yeah, feels more real with Margot Robbie, maybe, or maybe feels more surreal, which is what you want from a film about
a little
boys,
bit, because I think. Yeah, I don't know. It just...
I respect that
it was the only reasonable choice, I think.
Yeah.
And like, if you...
Jennifer Lawrence in Barbie wouldn't work, even though she's a much better actress.
No, it'd be a different film.
Yeah, it'd be a very different film. She's too cynical.
Yes.
Which is why she's so good in No Hard Feelings.
Yeah.
A great performance. Didn't make my list, but a great performance.
I'm trying to think of what else... I'll hear your list.
Okay. My list's a little bit different. Okay.
Yeah.
Alma Pushti from Fallen Leaves, who I thought was just wonderful.
Yeah.
I know you slept through it, but she's wonderful.
That was
that's my one.
That was very specific conditions I was in where I was really tired. And I know. I regret.
I shouldn't have told you to go to see a very quiet Finnish film on your most tired day of the year.
Yeah.
I've got Lea Seydoux in One Fine Morning,
yeah,
who's just terrific.
Incredible.
She's just great. It's such a great performance. I've got Lily Gladstone in Killers of the Flower Moon. My winner, She's about to win the Oscar, and she's fucking Queen of America. I love her so much.
I went Lily Gladstone as well.
She's so good. Sorry, I should clarify. This is a joint win for Killers of the Flower Moon and The Unknown Country, which she's also fantastic in.
Okay.
Which is this independent movie that she made, which is actually a more active performance than Killers of the Flower Moon because she's in every frame of the film. She's not bedridden for an hour in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And she's not having to work around the ego of Leonardo DiCaprio to get oxygen, but it's great. Two great performances. And then I have two young British actresses, which is something I always tend to put on my best actress lists, I feel like, the last few years, even though you wouldn't expect me to. I've got Lola Campbell from Scrapper, and I've got Mia McKenna-Bruce from How to Have Sex.
You went with Mia McKenna-Bruce. I considered it, and I just didn't.
I came down to her or Jennifer Lawrence, and she made it for me. I think that film completely doesn't work if she's not as good as she is. I
think I was distracted a bit by the film not being as good as I thought it was going to be going into it.
The film's not that great, but I think to get me, a person who is very hostile to loud English people, loud English teenagers, my least favorite people in the whole world, to make a film about a group of loud English teenagers, and for me to be so sympathetic to the young female lead from the first minute before anything bad happens to her on her holiday is so testament to how she just has this constant sense of being a little bit out of her depth.
I actually considered the friend to be supporting actress because she's so awful.
Which one? The horrible
the
one?
kind of tall blonde
white one.
friend.
Yeah. She is awful.
She
There's a few good performances in that. But I think Mia McKenna-Bruce just seems like she's constantly a little bit scared and out of her depth around these other people in a way that made me feel so bad for her. And like the film completely falls apart if you don't buy that. So I
probably should have included that in my list.
And then Lola Campbell is the girl in Scrapper, who's just one of these. She's just a sort of a Frankie from After Sun type, who just has so much maturity that you're just kind of frightened because she's like 11 or 12 and she's living independently, and then her dad shows up and she has to befriend her dad, and she's just great. And that's a great film, or that's a really lovely like positive film about working class England that isn't full of miserable shit. It's just like nice and pleasant, and she's great.
No M. Stone on either of our lists.
No, I don't like that. I think half of that is a terrible performance.
I kind of agree.
Half of it is pretty good.
Yeah.
When she is talking like a baby, I can't fucking.
First 10 minutes that were.
Yeah. She loses out because of the first 10 minutes alone. I think so. Like, some people I didn't add as well. Julia Garner from The Royal Hotel.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Laura Calamy from Full Time.
Okay.
Greta Lee in Past Lives.
I couldn't remember enough of the performance of Full Time to remember if it was her that was making it great
or
it was
what makes
kind
it
of
great. Greta Lee in Past Lives is very good.
Yeah.
Margaret Qualley in Sanctuary is very good.
Thank God you said Sanctuary.
I had Sandler as well on my list, and then I had Carey Mulligan and these aren't on my list obviously. Carey Mulligan and then Julianne Moore in When You Finish Saving the World were both in my long list as well. None of them made the cut. So Lily Gladstone's my winner. Who's your winner?
Lily Gladstone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great. She's going to win the Oscar.
First unanimous winner.
Yeah, I think so. We're killing it here. And then we have Best Cinematography. Did you come up with 5 for this?
I did.
Not that hard to do.
I went Oppenheimer.
Yep.
I went All of Strangers.
Okay, interesting.
I went One Fine Morning.
Interesting.
I went Past Lives.
Okay.
And I went Asteroid City.
Okay. We only overlap 2 out of 5.
Yeah.
I have Oppenheimer, Asteroid City, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1. An incredible achievement of cinematography if you think about some of the stuff they filmed in that.
I have 6 written down here, and Dead Reckoning is the 6th one.
Yeah,
and between that and Asteroid City.
Yeah. Dead Reckoning is an incredible achievement of just throwing a camera in places you wouldn't normally.
No, sorry. Fuck yeah.
It's not as much of a postcard looking film.
No.
But it, in my opinion, much stronger cinematography than All of Us Strangers. But I accept that.
Sure.
I accept you choosing that.
I don't think about these things.
My other 2, Blackberry and Fallen Leaves.
You went Blackberry.
Just look fucking class.
Yeah.
They're just shot on film in beautiful ways, and every scene has an incredible texture to it. And Blackberry, it has an incredible 1980s texture to it, where it looks like a fucking just pulls you into the world of the 80s.
I think cinematography is one of these things where I don't fully understand what's being.
Neither do I guess.
Like,
but I know
what comes down to editing, what comes down to direction.
I know when I like how something feels visually.
One Fine Morning and Past Lives are on this for the same reason, where they made a city look really cool.
Yes,
Paris looks so delightful.
One Fine Morning looked great.
And New York is kind of shot in this way that's more like how they shoot Asian cities.
Yes, exactly. No,
which is an unusual feeling for New York, but it makes it feel it makes it feel foreign.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, that's a great choice. And then Fallen Leaves, I just thought had so many nice pop and colors in it for a film that is mostly set in like
supermarkets and
depressing rooms.
Welling.
I thought it looked amazing. I think Kaurismäki's films always look amazing. Editing.
What's your winner? Sorry,
my winner. I think Oppenheimer. But Asteroid City would be my my winner is Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
I think Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I'll go the same.
I think Christopher Nolan movies are just always the best shot films of the year.
Asteroid City again would have more pop if it wasn't like
a lot of
we're used to Wes Anderson.
But a lot of what looks great in Asteroid City is production design, you know.
Yeah, it's
the color isn't necessarily the cinematographer is doing. Like Oppenheimer is a film that is shot and like every scene with Downey Jr. is shot completely differently to everything else. Yeah. In that the camera is handheld and it's really in his face, and I think it's great. Editing. Did you do editing?
I did.
Okay. So I have
some tough list. This is one of these again where I'm like,
I have some different ones for editing. So I have the two obvious ones: Oppenheimer, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning.
Yeah.
Then I have Anatomy of a Fall, All of Us Strangers, and The Killer.
You went The Killer.
Yeah.
I went Killers full time and Beau's Afraid.
Killers of the Flower Moon, full time and Beau's Afraid. Interesting. I didn't consider full time for editing. You're right. That's a good choice.
It's something that's so reliant on editing. If the editing is bad in that, it doesn't work.
Beau's Afraid is another good choice. Yeah.
Again, Beau's Afraid, I only kind of saw the first half of because then I fell asleep because we watched it very late. But the first half of it is hysterical, nonstop, just
great,
running around, SpongeBob stuff.
I think All of Us Strangers is a great piece of editing.
Yeah.
And I don't think that film is that great, but I think that the way that it blurs the lines between what's in his head and what's real is disorienting in a way that is like almost worthy of like a Lynch type director, where you're like, I kind of stay watching this. Like,
I kind of put that down to the cinematography.
Interesting.
See, that kind of blurring of dreaminess and kind of the whole lights,
they're both part
lighting
of it.
setup. Like, I would have put that more down to
So what do we know?
What? We don't know.
I think it's edited really
well. This is why
well,
the Golden Boy is not is not a prestigious award.
Exactly.
We have no celebrities here tonight.
Fucking George Hook is hosting, for fuck's sake. I think The Killer is really well edited.
Yeah.
Because that film is boring as shit if you have a bad director and a bad editor. Like, that script is boring. And I think that film works because it moves so fast and the sound is so good. We don't have a sound category, but this editing nomination is sort of for the sound for The Killer.
A little bit, yeah.
I think that the sound and the way that it gets the Smith songs in there and the way that it just keeps things moving and he's constantly moving is the only way that film is like watchable. Otherwise, it would be so dull. So, Fincher is obviously most of what works, but the editing that he employs is very effective. And then Anatomy of a Fall is a very well edited film. It pulls in elements of flashback and revealing clues about the murder and stuff in really clever ways. It's very, very good.
Killers of the Flower Moon is there for similar reasons to Oppenheimer in that it's 3.5 hours
and it doesn't feel it.
No.
Yeah. Exactly. No,
they time the humorous beats correctly.
Pacing is incredible.
Pacing is phenomenal
in both of those films. Yeah. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning has a huge problem with pacing. I think it is a badly paced film.
Yeah,
that spends way too long in certain.
But individual scenes
are moved so well. Like even our least favorite scene in that film, which is the Venice party conversation, which is a fucking slog to get through.
It's like 20 minutes long,
but it's edited very well. Like the way it cuts back, as in it's too long, so the editing around it is a problem.
Yeah.
But within the scene,
that seems like a directorial choice.
The way it cuts between people's faces as everyone's talking in a circle is really, really good and keeps the tension up, even as the scene keeps dragging on. Maybe that's not good editing that the scene goes on for ages, but that's the director. The editing by my personal friend Eddie Hamilton, who I'm not nominating just because he did an event with me at work, is I think very strong. And I think the editing in all the action scenes is just incredible.
The Mission Impossible franchise is
it's a masterclass in editing. Exactly.
I'm gonna go with Oppenheimer for editing. It's the obvious choice.
Yep. Yeah. Oppenheimer is the correct choice. Yeah. That's a fucking amazing piece of editing.
Yeah.
Best original song. We aren't naming a lot of the people here that we're giving awards to, which I feel like is bad. We haven't named the editors of a lot of these films or cinematographers. And you know what? I don't know who edited Oppenheimer. I know that Hoyt van Hoytema was the cinematographer. The editor was, of course, there was 3. Jennifer Lame, Nick Ellsberg, and Tom Foligno.
You know, when we put out our winners graphics, we will include the titles of the winners.
Yeah. Oh my God, my ass making winners graphics outside of work. What's wrong with me? Next up, best original song. I only have 4 nominees for this. Did you do this?
No, I didn't
have
do this.
4 nominees. From Fast X, Won't Back Down by Young Boy, Never Broke Again, Bailey Zimmerman and Dermot Kennedy.
Hometown Hero.
A joke nomination, if we're being honest.
Sure.
I've got Dance the Night by Dua Lipa from
Yeah.
Barbie. My 3rd favorite song Dua Lipa has written for a film after the Gully song. What's the Gully song called?
I have no idea.
Can They Hear Us?
Can they hear us?
And Swan Song from Alita Battle Angel, which
Yeah.
is a fucking banger. And then I have 007 from Flora and Son. And then I have Addicted to Romance by Bruce Springsteen from She Came to Me. And my winner there is 007 from Flora and Son. Congrats to John Carney on his win.
Well done. I'm going to give Dua Lipa an award.
Yeah, she deserves an award, but Dance the Night is not my favorite Dua Lipa song. But
No.
she deserves an award for being the best.
Yeah.
Next up, we have got Best Line of the Year.
Best line of the year. This was kind of a joint list we created in the last...
Yeah.
In preparation for this.
So,
Now,
I've got 6
you've got 6.
down here.
I've got 5 down here.
Okay.
Some of them are different.
Okay.
2 of these I would have scrapped since we read our list. Number 1, this is going to be the winner.
I think so.
It has to be the Henry Cherney line.
So it's, of course, when Vanessa Kirby is on the train with the what is he?
Well, Hayley Atwell dresses.
We won't
Vanessa
explain
Kirby.
it too much
We won't
detail.
explain it too much.
Vanessa Kirby sitting on a train across a table from Henry Czerny.
Yep.
And she is selling him secret nuclear codes of some kind.
A key.
A key.
A key to unlock nuclear codes. And the entity.
And he is explaining how she is going to get paid.
Yeah.
And
he says, all you have to do is enter your banking details.
and hands her a little card reader, which says...
It's just a phone and says enter
Enter
IBAN.
IBAN on it. It's fantastic.
But the delivery of details is outstanding.
It's
We were in
outstanding.
hysterics in the cinema.
Brilliant.
Like, it's...
Next up, from Killers of the Flower Moon,
Yeah.
Ernest Burkhardt, played by DiCaprio, enters a courtroom, and immediately Brendan Fraser stands up, looming over the
As
the
Martin
camera,
Scorsese says,
like a
he had the
gigantus.
girth.
Yes, like a gigantus, and shouts, I demand to confer privately with Mr. Burkhardt. Ernest Burkhardt is my client. I demand the opportunity to speak with Mr. Burkhardt. He has been missing for 2 months, and I have not had a chance to communicate with him before he testifies. And as he's shouting this, John Lithgow is screaming at him from across the room, being like, this is unacceptable. You must stop. This is contempt of court. It is fucking incredible.
This is 3 hours into a film.
3 hours
where
into a 3.5 hour
a family of Native American
Yes.
people are just being picked off one by
Yes.
one. It's horrific.
And this fucking
it's disgusting.
Oscar-winning, the latest Oscar-winning Best Actor winner
just shows up.
3 hours in and starts screaming, looming above the camera as the camera looks up at him. It's extraordinary. And DiCaprio just looks dumbfounded.
Yeah.
What's your next one?
I have the other line from Killers of the Flower Moon where I actually don't have the line in front of me, but it's, and you know the name of the character and I don't. Like, I know the name of the character.
I don't know.
But he's talking to his lawyer and is like, if I kill my children, can I inherit their land? And then the lawyer responds with, you do realize this implies you're going to kill your children for land or something along those lines. It was very funny at the time.
I feel like the guy who shows up and says, I solve crimes.
I'm
was the
Billy
other
Crime Solver.
one. Yeah, I'm Billy something and I solve crimes.
He was, yeah, that was the third one.
My next one is...
I'm going to let you keep going with your list because mine is...
Okay. My next
all
one
over the place.
my next 2 are very obvious, well memed to death
Yeah.
lines. One of them is Leonard Bernstein going, "Who abandoned Snoopy in the vestibule?" Now that I think of it, I have a better line from Maestro.
Yeah.
It's when he meets Matt Bomer and Matt Bomer's wife in the park, and he looks down at their little child and says, "I've slept with both your parents." It's fantastic. My Leonard Bernstein voice is terrible, but and then my next one is Glenn Howerton and Blackberry.
Yeah.
I'm from Waterloo, where the vampires hang out. It's brilliant.
Very good.
He's so angry. It's great.
I had a Freeze Stop Resisting from Beau's Afraid.
Oh, yeah, that's really good. That's really good. This is a scene where he gets a cop points a gun at him.
He's
and
in his pajamas. He's standing
there
there
doing
motionless. He
nothing,
doesn't know
and the
what-
cop gets more and more agitated.
He's
as
like, stop moving, stop moving.
stop! I gotta
resist."
shoot. You're gonna leave me with no. And he's like, you're gonna leave me
Don't
with no
make me do it.
choice.
Don't
Don't make me
make me
do this. It's great. It's just like the ultimate worst case scenario encounter with a
Yeah,
cop.
it's like when it is like when you're in your dream and you can't move.
Yeah,
and you're just like,
it's
oh,
great.
It's so funny.
My next one is Jeffrey Wright on the phone to his PR people in American Fiction.
Yeah.
And they go, but we love what's the original title of the book?
My pathology.
My pathology. And they're like, but we love my pathology. We think it's a great name. And he goes, that's why I think you're going to love the new title even more. Fuck. And they go, well, excuse me? And he goes, I want to call it Fuck.
Fuck.
Brilliant. Biggest laugh for me in the film. I was laughing for like 2 minutes. I just love the name. It was
like,
fuck.
Good.
Like it's so obvious, but it works so well.
Yeah.
It's really good. And then my final one from our Best Original Song winner, 007. It's a lyric, and it is young Oren Kinlan rapping. I'm the king of the MMA, like Conor McGregor, only not as gay. It's brilliant. Anything that insults Conor McGregor in such a juvenile fashion is
a man who is no doubt profoundly homophobic.
Yes, and would hate to hear that being put in the film. So that's really clever. Any other best lines you got? You have Shea Wiggum.
I have Shea Wiggum's
shouting, "Stop everybody down."
I have 2 lines from Shea Wiggum. His like description of Ethan Hunt at the beginning.
Oh, so good.
Wasn't he? He's a shape-shifting incarnation of chaos.
Yes.
Great line.
Fantastic.
His
"Stop everybody get down" is less of a line and more just a good delivery in the film.
Again, this is more bursts in front of a man who's speaking in French.
Sorry,
like,
yes. It's, his partner is like, "Excusez-moi, ladies and gentlemen," and then he goes, "Everybody get down." It's great. It's brilliant.
Banking Details, best line of the
Banking Details wins the best line of the year, but the Brendan Fraser thing is borderline best supporting actor material. So
yeah,
borderline. If De Niro wasn't in that movie, I think we'd be putting Brendan Fraser in the mix for best supporting actor for his 90 seconds.
Got a mixed response, I believe, initially.
Yes,
but
it did. But people came around to it.
Absolutely.
Scorsese came out and was like, "That was all intentional. Fuck you guys."
That's insane. Yeah. Of course.
Best original score.
This is gonna be one for you. I don't have.
Sure. I've got Oppenheimer. Mishy Posse, Dead Rex.
Mishy Posse, Desi Rex.
Kills the Flower Moon, American Fiction, and then I have Leave the World Behind. Really good score.
Yeah.
Big fan of Matt Quayle, who did Mr. Robot as well. Really good composer. And then those other ones are all pretty much Oscar nominated. And Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, Lauren Balfe did another great job. Mm-hmm. And I think that is all of our technical. Oh, I have one more.
Sorry, what's your winner for best score?
Oh, my winner for best score is going to be Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
And then costume design. Did you do costumes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did Poor Things.
Yeah.
I did Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Killers.
Yeah.
I went Air and Fallen Leaves.
I have no objection to either of those. Air is designed by the Nike Corporation. I'm a little skeptical about that one, given that it is a film about a company that makes clothes.
Sure.
That I just don't know how much design was involved, even if the clothes look good.
I just think it was a cool guys in the 80s hanging out in an office.
Ben Affleck looks fantastic in that movie. Yeah, they all do. They all look great. And your fifth was Fallen Leaves. Yeah, good costumes in that. I've got Oppenheimer, Poor Things, Kills the Flower Moon, and then I've got Passages, which is a great costume movie. And I have The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Yeah. Hunger Games movies are so easy to nominate for costumes because they're just costume designed to death. Yeah. And that film has some really cool looks in it.
I think is there anything else I'm missing out in here. Barbie, I guess, is...
Barbie's...
I think, again, that was...
It does have good costume design.
I think set design is the big winner there,
Yes,
though.
I think so.
Do we have it? We didn't do set design.
But that is really good, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's our technical categories. So now we move on to Best Lead Actor.
This is like my worst category. Just like the first one I did, and now I'm looking at it again. I'm like, oh, that's a bad list.
I'm happy with my choices here.
All right. I went Cillian Murphy, Bradley Cooper, Andrew Scott, Michael Fassbender, Nicolas Cage.
Cillian Murphy, Andrew Scott, Bradley Cooper, Michael Fassbender, Nicolas Cage. Yeah. You've got 3 out of 5 Irish there. Look at you.
Yes.
Without a single Barry Keoghan in sight.
Not a single Barry Keoghan. No, we weren't. We're not allowed to mention that.
Not allowed to mention that film. We're not going to mention the name of the film. Okay. Mine are Cillian Murphy, Bradley Cooper, Nicolas Cage, Peter Sarsgaard in Memory, and my winner, Franz Rogowski in Passages.
Okay.
You would love this performance.
You need to see
it. Imagine Matthew Marr, but young, sexy, and bisexual. Franz Rogowski fucking rules. He's a German actor.
Matthew Marr is sexy.
Yeah, he is, but this guy is like sexier.
Yeah.
He's like he's got a sort of a funny way of speaking. He is just this very attractive guy with a very interesting face. He wears amazing clothes in this movie, and he plays this incredibly complex, horrible but delightful and charismatic guy. He's such a good performance. I'd never seen him in anything before, and now I want to see everything he does for the rest of time.
Yeah.
Peter Sarsgaard in Memory is just beautiful. I knew I'd love this performance as soon as I saw the fucking stills from the movie. He's such a lovely actor with such a nice energy, and he plays this like really, really kind of tragic figure in this guy in his late 40s, early 50s who has dementia, and he's trying to build a relationship with Jessica Chastain, but he can't figure out where he is half the time, and he's great in it. And then the three that we had in common, Cillian Bradley and Cage. I think Nicolas Cage is great in Dream Scenario.
I think that's his...
I think he's trying.
It's unfortunate that that's like going to be a generally critically underappreciated performance.
Yes, because he is doing something very different.
He's doing a very strong bit.
Yeah, he's playing like a geeky, uncool guy,
college professor. Like,
yes, and it's really convincing.
And it's kind of a horror fantasy film, and like
the performance is so different to any of the things that people box him in.
It's like anti-Oscar bait. Like,
exactly, yeah. And then Bradley Cooper, I think we both thought was great.
Yeah, I came out of it thinking that's a
fucking Oscar.
That's a star.
Like, yeah, exactly. So much. I think it's his best performance ever. And then Cillian Murphy and Oppenheimer, kind of just nothing to say about that. Goes without saying.
Yeah.
Now you've got the two other Irish boys, Fassbender and Andrew Scott.
I think Fassbender just does, like, maybe this is me projecting his personal, his real life persona onto the character, but I thought he did a good job of just like kind of being a bit of an idiot asshole.
Sure.
Where like you don't really have any sympathy for him throughout the film at all.
Yeah. I guess that's kind of what he does in Steve Jobs and Shame as well.
Yeah.
That's sort of what he's good at.
He's good at being stern and just... And I kind of like that.
He's a good movie star. He's a really watchable presence on screen no matter what he's doing. Like, that counts for a lot.
very little joy to him, though.
Yes, true.
But
Andrew Scott, I'm not convinced is that great in that film. I think he's just playing himself.
Yeah.
It's the character's too similar to his real life persona, and he's not doing an accent. He's doing nothing to make me think I'm watching a character called fucking John or whatever. I'm literally just, it's just Andrew Scott and he's living in London. Like, it's so close to what he's just like.
Yeah.
Now it helps that I've seen him in so many things. I'm very familiar with his mannerisms. I have met him. I feel like I know him to watch very well. But Christ, even Paul Mescal, who I don't think is very good in the film either, is doing a character, and I feel like Andrew Scott is like on autopilot.
I agree, but I think there's like a niceness to that in seeing that he's kind of doing he can do very kind of authentic performance and getting rewarded for that.
Sure. Well, he's also doing his authentic self in a film that is very high concept and has like weird elements about memory and dreams and whatever.
Yeah.
And he's able to pull his energy through the film and keep it nice and watchable.
Yeah.
The film would be worse without him, I do think.
Yes.
I agree. All right.
You're building a little bit on your kind of pre-existing notion of Andrew Scott.
Who's your winner?
Cillian Murphy.
Sure. Interesting, you haven't seen it, but I don't have Paul Giamatti anywhere near my top 5. And
really?
yet I would be very happy.
You want him to win, though.
I would love it if he won the Oscar. It's not his best work
okay.
by any means, but he's just a great actor, and it's a harmless performance.
Okay.
It's harmless. Some people that didn't make my 5 would have been Juicy Vatanen in Fallen Leaves, Dave Turner in The Old Oak, who's great, Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible, Jay Baruchel in Blackberry.
I didn't think he was that great.
He's not the best performance in the film, but for him, it's worthy of consideration.
I think I kind of lump him in with the third character in Blackberry who's not good.
The friend,
the guy who directed.
The director, yeah. I also then had on my long list Matt Damon in Air, which is nothing special.
No.
But he's good. And I had Dave Bautista in Knock at the Cabin, who is pretty good in that film. He's not quite the lead. It's kind of he's kind of half the lead.
Yeah.
I thought Dave Bautista was awful in Dune Part 2, and it soured my impression of him a little bit. Not that he was making my top 5 anyway. And that's our lead actor choices. Best Picture.
Are you going to Cillian Murphy for lead actor?
No, Franz Rogowski, as I said.
Oh, yes, sorry.
That's the best performance of the year.
Fair.
Franz Rogowski. So my winners for actors were Franz Rogowski, Lily Gladstone, David Krumholtz, and Hong Chow. Yours were Cillian Murphy, Lily Gladstone, Glenn Howerton, and
Dylan Jalula.
Yeah. The odd one out there. Best Picture. I am going to just basically go with my 10 favorite films of the year.
I did the same.
Minus the ones that were not technically 2023 films.
I think I bumped maybe Beau's Afraid from like number 10 or 11 on my list just by...
Hadn't seen the whole thing. All right. So
I just really liked the first hour and a half.
Yes, fair. Okay, so if I take out films that didn't come out this year. Okay,
so
my top 10.
We both had Babylon like quite high because this was a 23 Irish release.
So my top 10 in alphabetical order. my Best Picture nominees are Blackberry, Dream Scenario, Fallen Leaves, Killers of the Flower Moon, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, Oppenheimer, The Boy and the Heron, The Old Oak, The Royal Hotel, and You Are So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah.
Boy and the Heron made your top 10.
Yep.
I don't think I've heard you talk about it.
I didn't put Anatomy of a Fall in there.
Really?
I didn't put Air in there.
Yeah, fair enough.
I didn't put Scrapper or Maestro or No Hard Feelings in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I did put The Boy and the Heron in there. I thought The Boy and the Heron had some of the most impressive filmmaking I've seen this year.
Okay.
And I think that it is the best kind of animated film. And I think that when an animated film is as great as that is, it deserves to be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. Yeah. That's why I have it in my Best Picture list.
Okay. Alphabetical for mine.
Yeah.
All of Us Strangers.
Okay.
Blackberry.
Yeah.
Dead Reckoning.
Yeah.
Dream Scenario.
Yeah.
Full Time.
Yeah.
Killers of the Flower Moon.
Okay.
One Fine Morning.
Yeah.
Oppenheimer.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Things.
Yeah.
And You Were So Not Invited to My Bad Mitzvah.
Okay. I might be underrating One Fine Morning. I think maybe that deserves to be in there instead of the Royal Hotel or the Old Oak, maybe, or Blackberry. I don't know. Dream Scenario.
It's very low stakes, but it's kind of flawless in what it's doing.
It probably is a stronger film than Dream Scenario or the Old Oak, but
like One Fine Morning isn't something you need to like think about all the time.
No. A lot of these aren't,
No.
But some good films in there.
Yeah.
I'm glad we both put You Are So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah in there.
So good.
That is a really excellent teen comedy, and I will watch it again in the next 6 months.
It's what Bottoms thinks it is.
It's what Bottoms thinks it is. And it is a lovely case of Adam Sandler handing the reins over to a new generation of his family, Nepo daughters, and being like, why don't you make a comedy? And it's really good.
Like, and like,
it's
it
really
seems
funny.
like it seems like there is a very deliberate, direct contribution from the 16-year-olds in this film.
It feels
to
like
the
young
kind of dialogue. It feels very authentic. It
feels like young women were involved in the costuming, the songs chosen,
even the dynamics between
kids.
Very good modern pop culture references.
Yes,
Olivia Rodrigo kind of is,
lots of stuff. It feels like a very 2023 teen movie. I'm thinking now maybe I should have given it a screenplay nomination, but anyway, my winner is a little film called Oppenheimer.
Oh,
I assume that is your winner too.
Yeah, same.
Interesting that the Oscars and us are syncing up this year. You know, we should be fucking thrilled.
Yeah.
They're giving Oppenheimer Best Picture. They're giving Lily Gladstone Best Actress. What a fucking year.
Delightful.
It is a good year.
Yeah.
And Cillian Murphy and Divine Joy Randolph and Robert Downey Jr. Who could be mad?
Good
Best year for the Oscars in a very long time. Mm-hmm. The last time they gave my favorite film of the year Best Picture wasn't that long ago. It was Moonlight.
Yeah.
And then they did it with Lord of the Rings in 2003. But like, Jesus,
it's been a while.
3 times this century they're doing it. And that's not terrible.
Yeah, they've been on a run of a few bad ones there recently.
Yeah, they have. We won't speak of Everything Everywhere All at Once.
No, we won't. Or the Green Book.
That's the Golden Boy Awards. We only have one more thing to do. We have to ask George Hook what are his favorite films of the year. George, what did you like in 2023?
Thank you, Lucien. I have a few choices to run through with you. I really loved the film Saltburn.
Oh, George, you said you weren't going to mention Saltburn for fuck.
I know I did, but I loved seeing Barry Keoghan shine as a young leading man. I also loved A Haunting in Venice. Thrilling murder mystery. I really enjoyed the film You People with Jonah Hill and Eddie Murphy. Just comedy gold. Also, lovely Ingrid took me to see Robots with Jack Whitehall and Shailene Woodley. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, just pure cinema. And finally, I was a huge fan of Dave Franco's directorial debut, Somebody I Used to Know.
Okay, George, you're the only person who watched that, but
I know.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, George.
This is George's favorite films of the year there, folks. Awful stuff.
Yeah, doesn't line up with our taste.
We won't be inviting George back to host the show.
So.
Sorry.
We won't.
We'll not be renewing his contract. All right. That's it for the Golden Boy Awards 2024. We hope you've enjoyed the first annual.
Hopefully there'll be a second.
Hopefully. Join us next Monday Tuesday, where we will be discussing the presumptive winner of the Academy Award for Best Actor, Cillian Murphy, in 2003's Intermission, with a special guest. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next year for the second annual Golden Boy Awards. Goodbye.